Yo, what's poppin' Pokepals? Rare Boy here, and I'm back with another impossible Pokemon challenge. Today we're going to find out how quickly I can beat Pokemon Ruby with only a Shadow Lugia. I've been wanting to do this challenge for quite some time now, and since this is going to be my easiest run yet, I've decided to add a bonus to this challenge. It's obviously going to be possible to beat the game with the Lugia, but I want to know how quickly I can do it. So I want to see if I can beat the game in 5 hours or less. Before we can even attempt our run, we first need to import Shadow Lugia into our ROM of Ruby. In order to do this, we need to replace an already existing Pokemon within the ROM that has a similar color scheme as our desired Pokemon. For Shadow Lugia's case, that resulted in us replacing Butterfree. Aside from having a similar color scheme, Butterfree is not a Pokemon you normally run into during your average playthrough of Pokemon Ruby. This will give us the most authentic experience by not running into wild or trainer-owned Shadow Lugias. Now that we have our Shadow Lugia sprite in-game, we need to edit Butterfree's internal data so that he becomes Shadow Lugia. We edit Butterfree's typing, base stats, ability, experience growth needed to reach level 100, and level up moveset. Now, you're all probably wondering, well, Rare, aside from a fresh coat of paint, what makes this Lugia Shadow? This is where I had to push my ROM editing skills and replace moves with shadow moves, as you can see from our level up moveset. I've never done anything like this before, so be prepared to see a bunch of glitches and coding problems, kind of like if we were playing with the Missingo, but none of them are game crashing or story alternating, thankfully. In case you're wondering what moves I replace, I've chosen 4 moves that are signature moves of specific Pokemon whom you've never run into during a normal playthrough of Pokemon Ruby. I've replaced the moves Psycho Boost, Doom Desire, Mist Ball, and Blast Burn. As for the shadow moves themselves, there's Shadow Shed, which has a haze effect, removing all stats changes on the field. Shadow Down, which lowers our opponent's defense by 2 stages. Shadow Blast, which is a base 80 special attack. And Shadow Storm, which is a base 90 special attack that hits both opponents in a double battle. Now that Shadow Lugia is in our game, let's review the rules of the run. The first rule is that I'm only allowed to use Shadow Lugia in battle. We're allowed to capture other Pokemon for HM usage, but they cannot assist Shadow Lugia by any means. The second rule is that no items will be allowed in battle. Held items such as leftovers are allowed, but using items such as X items or Hyper Potions are a no-go. And finally, no glitches will be used to complete the game. I will be using an exploit this time around, if you can call it that, and that's the Rare Candy exploit. For those who don't know, in Ruby and Sapphire only, the first route Zigzagoons have a small but decent chance of picking up rare candies at the end of every battle. With this in mind, I will capture 6 wild Zigzagoons so I can farm for rare candies and level up as quickly as possible. Since this is a timed challenge, I'm going to need all the levels I can get as quickly as I can get them. With the rules explained and our Shadow Lugia in game, let's jump into some gameplay. The first thing I do is pick up Shadow Lugia from Professor Birch's bag. For this run, I replaced Trico so May would have her anime starter Torchic. After defeating the wild Poochyena, we head back to the lab where Birch officially gives me the Shadow Lugia. I name our shadowy menace XD001, which is a reference to Shadow Lugia's codename in XD Gale of Darkness. I take a look at his stats and he has a timid nature, so less attack but more speed, which is actually pretty solid. Our moveset isn't great for Roxanne, only having Gust to attack, but with our shadowy boy on the team, it's time to speedrun the Hoenn region. As you can imagine, our first fight against May wasn't worth the time, but I just wanted to show her that her dad gave us a better Pokemon than her. After reaching level 20 with the help of some rare candies, we reach Roxanne. At this level, this fight is just not happening. Not only are we not dealing enough damage, she's dealing way too much back to us. I can restore my speed, which is dropped by Rock Tomb with the help of Shadow Shed, but it's still not enough to help pull out a victory on this one. At level 23, I learned the move Shadow Down, which sharply lowers our opponent's defenses. I don't know why it says it has a base power of 90 when it doesn't even deal any damage, so ignore that, that's probably just a coding error on my end. With some defense drop shenanigans from our newly acquired attack, we were able to pull out a victory and obtain our first gym badge. I head straight for Brawly and blew his entire team away with nothing but Gust. This battle would have went a lot quicker if he didn't heal and boost his defenses so much, but it is what it is. Now it's time for the infamous May battle, which is notorious for ending speedruns, but with the help of Shadow Down's defense-lowering properties, this fight was a cakewalk. It's Watson time, and I've been fearing fighting this man, but I have an ace up my sleeve. The move Safeguard completely negates Watson's AI. Watson's AI is programmed to paralyze the opponent, and he won't stop until he succeeds in doing so. With this oversight in mind, I make it all the way to his Magneton. Even with -6 in his defense, Magneton eats up our Gus and is healed by Watson. Because of our pressure ability, Magneton actually runs out of Thunder Waves and is forced to go on the offensive, taking us out. I'll have to come back after I get a few more levels. I pick up 4 rare candies and level up 4 more times about 28 minutes later and try it again. Lowering Watson's Pokemon's defenses with Shadow Down and protecting us with Safeguard, we whittle his team down to get our 3rd gym badge. We meet up with team leader Maxie for the first time, and right away Mighty Anna's Intimidate lowers our attack, so I start things off with the Shadow Shed to remove the effect. Just like Watson, I Shadow Down and Gust his whole team for a fairly simple fight. Flannery's battle started off great, blowing both her Slugmas away with Gust, but Torkoal's bulk and Flannery's potions were just too much for us to handle. I'll learn Shadow Blast soon, which is special, and that should be enough to get past Torkoal. At level 48, we learn Shadow Blast, which is, tough type? Okay. Unlike normal Shadow moves though, the ones I have programmed only deal neutral damage to all types, instead of super effective damage like they're supposed to, so that's going to significantly lower the power of both Shadow Blast and Shadow Storm once we learn that attack, but it's better than nothing. We go into the battle, and apparently just hovering over Shadow Blast causes our text box to glitch, but it's still functionable. Shadow Blast is not only strong, but is just what we needed to pull out a victory on Flannery. Just a quick time check for you guys. We're just under 3 hours when we reach Norman. If it weren't for Roxanne wasting an hour and a half with her bulky rock types, we'd be in a much better position, but this challenge is getting way too close. Anyways, it's Norman time, and right away I go for Safeguard to protect us from Yawn. Shadow Blast does half damage on Slacking, but our second one gets a low roll, and he lives on 1 HP, causing Norman to heal. We get 2 high rolls on our next go around, and take out his first Slacking. Next out is Vigoroth, who goes down to 2 Shadow Blast, but not before landing a crit slash on us. Last up is his second Slacking, who takes 3 Shadow Blasts before going down, winning us the fight. One final May battle, and by spamming Shadow Blast, we breeze through this fight. Nothing to see here, everyone. Let's keep it moving. Next up is our aerial opponent, Winona. It starts off great, spamming Shadow Blast and obliterating her Pokemon, until Skarmory survives a Shadow Blast and lands a Sand Attack on us. We get him down, and last out is Altaria, who's able to set up Dragon Dances on us thanks to our lowered accuracy. Luckily, I still have Shadow Shed, which removes my accuracy drops as well as her stat boost, allowing us to safely defeat her final Pokemon and gain the TM for Aerial Ace, which is a much better stab move than Gust. I make it to Tate and Liza, and here's our time check. We're 4 hours and 46 minutes into the run, which means there's no way I can beat this game in 14 minutes. The stupid Team Magma quest certainly slowed us down quite a fair bit, as well as all the traveling I had to do. Even with repels active, there's still a lot of ground to cover in the Hoenn region. I'm sure you're all just as curious as I am to see how much longer it will take to finish the run, so let's play it through. Tate and Liza time, and as always, I capture a Magikarp that only knows Splash to assist our contender Pokemon. We land a nice crit turn 1 on Lunatone as Solrock takes out Magikarp. Lunatone tries to put us to sleep with Hypnosis, but thankfully he missed. We take out Lunatone next turn and start attacking Solrock. Shadow Blast looks like a 3-hit KO, so I go for an Aerial Ace to prevent Tate from healing Solrock, and it pays off as we're able to win the fight next turn. One final Maxi battle, and I go for the Shadow Down Aerial Ace combo, but then Mighty Anna uses Swagger on us, boosting our attack and allowing us to sweep through his team and awaken the mighty Groudon. At this point, it's kind of like a tradition to show me killing Groudon, so here we are, blasting Groudon back into his hidey hole. Now it's time for the final gym leader, Wallace. Love Disc actually survives an Aerial Ace, so as Wallace heals her, I lower her defense with Shadow Down and nab the KO next turn. For Celio, I do the same thing, Shadow Down, Aerial Ace combo to take him down. Next out is Milotic, who's pretty scary given her sheer bulk as well as access to Recovery and Ice Beam. I go for my 2-piece combo again, as Milotic's Ice Beam does underwhelming damage thanks to Lugia having one of the highest special defenses in the Pokemon universe. When Milotic goes down, Whiscash comes in, and as I lower his defense, he confuses us with Water Pulse. We continue to hit ourselves in confusion, but thankfully Whiscash doesn't attack. We snap out of confusion and hit Whiscash, but he survives and continues to boost his special defense with Amnesia. Wallace heals, but I'm not mad because he's stalling out the rain, which is good since Wallace's last Pokemon has Swift Swim. Last out is Seaking, but thankfully the rain has stopped. I go for Aerial Ace and it's a range KO as Seaking sets up the rain yet again. I don't know how, but we still outsped in the rain and got a high roll, winning the battle with just 29 HP. This was the most nerve-wracking badge yet, and I'm so happy it was the last one. At the end of Victory Road is one final fight against Wally, but his entire team went down without dealing a single hit to us. He only used status moves instead of attacking us, which I think was kind of funny. Here are our stats just outside the Elite Four at level 62. I used the last of my rare candies and taught Lugia Calm Mind and Psychic through TMs. I still want to see how quickly we can win, so setting up with Calm Minds and sweeping with Psychic will certainly help speed up the process. First up in the Elite Four is Sydney, and we can't touch his team with Psychic, so I'm going to have to rely on Shadow Blast to get me through this fight. I set up 2 Calm Minds and start going to town on his team with Shadow Blast. For Cacturn and Shift Tree, I went for Aerial Ace to preserve my PP and to negate the accuracy drop from Mightyena. Sharpedo actually aided in our sweep by using Swagger on us, thus boosting our Aerial Ace's power. All in all, it was a fairly simple fight despite our disadvantage. Next up was Phoebe, and this battle took a few resets because her first Dusclops kept landing Curse as I tried to set up on her. We only need 1 Calm Mind to sweep through the team, so I get my Calm Mind off and break through confusion to defeat her entire team. Next up is Glacia, who can't do too much to us with her starting Glalie, so I set up in his face and proceed to sweep the team. For the last Glalie, I use Shadow Blast just because that's what makes Shadow Lugia, and I have to use it at least once per match. We head to the 6 and meet up with Drake, who we can't set up on because Shelgon has Rock Tomb, which will lower our speed, so I take him out right away. When his first Flygon comes in, I take the time to set up on him as we get our accuracy dropped by Sand Attack. Lucky for us though, we bypass the accuracy drops, and for his last Pokemon Altaria, we of course Shadow Blast our way to victory. Last but certainly not least is Champion Steven Stone. I only set up 1 Calm Mind on Skarmory out of fear of Toxic, but thankfully he just went for Steel Wing. Our Shadow Blast does well over half, and Steven goes for Spikes for some odd reason, despite Lugia being my only Pokemon on the team. Skarmory goes down and out comes Cradilly, so I set up another Calm Mind as we get hit harder than I was expecting by Ancient Power. I set up 1 more Calm Mind as Cradilly drops us to yellow. Afraid of an Omni Boost, I go on the offensive and end Cradilly. Next out is Armaldo, who will certainly hit harder than Cradilly, so I drop him right away. Out comes Claydol, who survives a Shadow Blast, which tells me I'm going to need to max out my special in order to OHKO Metagross. Luckily for us, Claydol is more of a utility mon, so he doesn't hit hard, as we're able to max out our specials with Calm Mind. Claydol and Aggron get dropped, and last out is Metagross, who should go down to 1 Shadow Blast after my calculations, and thankfully he does, defeating Steven Stone and placing Shadow Lugia in the Hoenn Hall of Fame with the final time of 6 hours and 51 minutes, which isn't bad. I beat the game just under 2 hours more than what I would have wanted. We unfortunately did not beat the game in under 5 hours, but it's mostly because of Roxanne being a brick wall in the early game. I had a ton of fun with this challenge nonetheless. Maybe if I had a better nature or stats or better RNG luck with the pickup ability, I might have cleared this challenge sooner, but it is what it is. I'm just happy to have finally beaten Pokemon Ruby in under 30 hours for once. For my next impossible challenge though, we're going to find out if it's possible to beat Pokemon Gold using only a Snover, so if you don't want to miss that challenge, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Also be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment telling me what your favorite part of the run was. This has been your boy Rare Boy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!